Welcome to Comic Movie 10, where you get insight into everything comic book movies and television related in 10 minutes or less. I'm Joe Kane.
And I'm Dan Kane. No relation. Hey, don't forget to subscribe and share and keep up with us at hecklerkane.com.
On today's episode, we're comparing the 1989 Batman versus The Dark Knight.
Yeah, these are two iconic films.
Yeah.
The film I've seen the most in my life is the 1989 Batman. It came out when I was 3 or 4 years old. I watched it. It's probably to this day the film I've seen more than any other film. And I grew up, that was my favorite superhero film until The Dark Knight came out in 2008. And there's a lot of similarities and a lot of differences.
Sure.
So we basically were just going to compare the two movies, talk about some of those things.
Well, one of the main central things in the movie is the villains. There's two similar villains. We have the Joker versus the Joker.
Right.
And that always comes into play. Well, who did a better job? But that's kind of not what we're looking at today. We're looking at the films as a whole, right, even though it's kind of centered around these two villains.
The Joker. That's always the biggest question when comparing these two films.
Yes.
Is the performances of those two guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger.
Absolutely.
So let's dive in.
Yeah. So we just giving some similarities between the films. Just running down, the Joker basically comes in, he takes over the mob. Right. These are both things that happen in both movies. Mm-hmm. We first meet the Joker. He comes into a party, and this happens in both films.
Right.
He comes into a party and basically kidnaps the love interest of Batman.
Oh, right. It's the first time that Batman and Joker meet.
Yes, the first time that they meet.
Now, for me, this is monumental because a lot of films have the love interest is in danger and the hero comes and saves them and it's face to face. But
sure,
for me, speaking from comic books, there is not even Superman and Lex Luthor, okay, which might be the closest comparison.
Okay.
There is nothing as heightened, as big of a rivalry between hero and villain in comic lore as Batman and Joker. So this is why this is so monumental. That first face-to-face meeting in Batman '89, you have it in the museum, mm-hmm, when he has Vicky Vale,
yeah,
and he crashes through the top, the glass on the roof,
yes,
and they're face-to-face. And in Dark Knight, it's when crashes the party and he's threatening Maggie Gyllenhaal's character, I'm drawing a blank, with the knife, and he shows up out of nowhere and hits him.
Rachel.
Rachel. So that's a similarity, definitely. They both have him on camera for the whole media to see. He draws out Batman.
This is a separate instance now that is very similar.
Right.
They use the media to draw out Batman. Mm-hmm. He's making little mini movies and putting them out and somehow hijacking all of the camera crew. Well, not the camera crew necessarily, because Heath Ledger's Joker was just holding the camera, but they're hijacking the airwaves.
Right.
And so, it shows a big sense of intelligence on both of their parts to be able to hijack the airways.
Yes, absolutely.
So this is another major comparison that they have.
One of the other big thing is the confrontation in the street.
Sure, that's one of the climactic scenes of both movies.
Right, absolutely.
Hit me.
They both get pissed off, and they're both saying, well, Heath says, "Hit me." Jack, I think his exact words were, "Come on, you goose of a son of a bitch, come to me."
Yeah.
If you remember that. And it ends with him coming at him and crashing the vehicle that he's in.
Yeah, one was a motorcycle, one was the Batwing.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And another thing was basically at the end of it, he's fighting a bunch of thugs in a big building to get the Joker.
Yeah, he's got to make his way up through all of the Joker's things to a high skyrise.
Right, to a high skyrise, and they both wind up dangling from one of his grappling hooks.
Yeah.
In the end.
You know what? There's so many comparisons between these two movies as far as that goes, but do you write that off as the comparisons between the movies are because they have the same central character?
Sure. Absolutely.
But I mean, these are actual storyline plots that fall into the same category. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. These are all things, and they happen kind of in the same. They happen in the same order.
Right. Yeah.
My curiosity is, did Christopher Nolan go back to that Batman movie, and the
Tim
Burton Batman movie, did he go back to that and look at that and go, well, these are the key points,
right,
and hit these key points?
I mean, he definitely had to go back over it. I don't know if he was aiming at key points, but you know, I mean, I certainly would. You know, unless
why not? It was the most successful Batman movie to date at that point.
Right. Now, going over a lot of the differences.
Yes.
One of them was a similarity we mentioned, that he takes over the mob. But in '89, it was more like, I'm taking over to lead you.
Yes.
I'm the boss. In Dark Knight, it wasn't I'm your boss. It was I own you.
Yeah, you know what, it was a different mindset.
Right.
And I think both Jokers had different mindsets.
Sure, absolutely. The way that I have always thought about it is Jack was a clown who happened to kill.
Yes.
Heath was a killer who happened to be a clown. Yeah. That killer was more present. The chaos was more there with Heath.
Yeah,
than it was with Jack.
Anarchy, basically.
Right.
He was all about, Heath's version of it was all about the anarchy. Mm-hmm. And, and Batman is obviously the stark opposite of that, keeping the chaos away.
Right, absolutely. Another difference was Jack Napier. We had a backstory.
Yeah, we had a big backstory there.
Yeah.
And the Heath version was a very convoluted backstory.
Well, 3 different backstories. You never knew really what he was, where he came from, and it led to more. It's more chaos. That who is this guy?
Yeah,
he's sitting in the cell, and Commissioner Gordon said, "I got nothing. I don't know a thing about him."
Yeah,
and there's something frightening about that.
Yeah,
that you don't really know.
Well, it's the whole Heath's character was looked at as more of a terrorist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Jack's character was looked at more of a
mob boss.
Like a bad guy.
Right.
You know.
Well, he had agendas, and he had typical human needs.
Yeah.
The power, the money,
women.
There
was women. Yes.
Heath had nothing. He did nothing. Michael Caine said it best.
He's just there to watch the world burn.
Yeah.
And you thought I was going to do the accent.
Yeah. He just was there for just to watch everything burn. He played with Batman.
Yeah.
He was playing with him.
Well, you know what? There are very stark differences on how the characters were portrayed. Mm-hmm. I think your thing about being a clown or being a killer,
right,
and then having the other part of that,
right,
first or second
as a character trait instead of who you are.
Exactly. That's a very good comparison.
Right.
That's a very good comparison. Now, we were able to draw a lot of comparisons between these movies, which was very cool to me. Mm-hmm. One of the major comparisons for me that was major differences, I should say, there was a golden rule with Batman in Dark Knight. He was not going to kill. Mm-hmm. There was no point he's going to kill. But Batman says it right in there, I'm going to kill you.
At the end on Gotham Cathedral.
At the end, yes.
Yes.
And then he murdered the Joker, in essence.
Yeah.
It was actually due to Batman's actions that he intentionally grappled his leg. And yes, there was a moment of, well, it could have been if he just held on to the ladder from the helicopter or whatever. But he killed the Joker.
He killed the Joker.
He killed the Joker out of vengeance for killing his parents.
Right. And they made it more personal.
They made it more personal.
He killed his parents, where Heath was just a problem to...
Yes and no, because Heath had just killed the Rachel character.
That is true.
And there was definitely a vengeance there. And they made in Dark Knight Rises, Christian Bale's version of Batman, much more humane and much more of a hero, because he should have gotten revenge for that.
Right.
And by all means, we were rooting for, Batman should be killing him because of this. But there was that golden rule, he did not kill.
Right. Which, that's another huge difference, is he turned out to not be the hero. In '89, he killed the villain, he got the girl, he got the praise, he was now a hero and accepted by Gotham.
Yeah.
In Dark Knight, he lost the girl, he failed Harvey Dent,
Yep.
Who was turned into Two-Face and then killed. And he was thought of, and Commissioner Gordon had to come up and say that we're after him now, we're chasing him. He did this to Harvey Dent. He was turned into a villain at the end of the film.
He was villainized because he had to be.
Right.
But in essence, he saved the soul of Gotham.
Mm-hmm. Right. Which took more than what it was with Michael Keaton, who came out on top.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please leave some comments, share this video, and we'll see you next time on Comic Movie 10.
We love bringing you these episodes, and we need your help to keep them coming.
Please don't forget to share and subscribe, and keep up with us at hecklerkane.com.